I didn't scream when my son called me from a stranger's phone. I didn't curse. I didn't ask why. I listened to his breathing, ragged, embarrassed, trying to be brave. 7 hours on a lawn will do that to a kid, especially when his life is zipped into black plastic bags like trash. "Stay there," I said, calm, measured. That was the moment I stopped being a husband and became a planner. 4 days later, my mother-in-law opened her front door and went pale. I was in a conference room when it happened. Glass walls, soft lighting, the kind of room where people pretend decisions are clean. "You're outdated. We're done here," the CEO hissed across the table. I nodded, understood. That was the moment the retirement trust activated its voting rights. By Monday morning, the board convened an emergency meeting. Someone had fired the person who owned 76% of the shares. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I married into their family because I believed in them. The dinners, the Sunday routines, the way my wife's mother smiled like a benevolent monarch presiding over her small kingdom. She loved control disguised as care. My son wasn't hers by blood. That mattered to her more than she ever said out loud, until she did. "I worked too much," she told people. "I wasn't present enough." My wife nodded along, absorbing the narrative because it made her feel safe to stand behind someone louder. They thought I was absent. They mistook silence for weakness. The signs were there. Conversations that stopped when I entered rooms, texts my wife forgot to mention, the way my son flinched when her mother corrected him too sharply, too publicly. Then came the day she packed his things. No warning. No call, just garbage bags on the lawn and a sentence sharp enough to scar. "Your daddy's blood isn't welcome here anymore. Find somewhere else." When my son called me, crying into a borrowed phone, something inside me went quiet. Quiet is dangerous. Quiet is where plans form. I picked him up an hour later, didn't say a word in the car, just handed him a juice box and let him breathe. That night, after he slept, I opened my laptop. Step 1, custody, emergency filings, documentation, school records, text messages, neighbors who'd seen the bags on the lawn, the security camera across the street that caught 7 hours of my son waiting. Step 2, finances, joint accounts frozen, separate trusts activated, the retirement trust my wife forgot I controlled, my grandfather's gift meticulously insulated. Step 3, surveillance, not the illegal kind, the kind that listens when people talk too freely to their friends, their lawyers, their lovers. Betrayal is loud if you let it talk. By day 3, my wife realized she'd miscalculated. She called, left messages, cried, threatened, bargained. I didn't answer. I was busy. The CEO I mentioned earlier, he thought sidelining me would be easy. He didn't read the footnotes. The trust didn't just hold shares, it held patience. When the vote flipped, I watched faces drain of color through a live stream. Power is intoxicating. Losing it is sobering. The board removed him by lunch. I sent one message, understood. Day 4 arrived quietly. I drove my son to school myself, packed his lunch, kissed his forehead, promised him something better than apologies. Then I parked across from my mother-in-law's house. She opened the front door at 9:12 a.m. and went pale. 2 officers stood behind me, a process server, a locksmith. The restraining order was read aloud. The emergency custody order followed. The locksmith changed the locks while she sputtered, words collapsing under the weight of legal language. Her house wasn't hers anymore. It belonged to a holding company, mine. She looked at me like I'd pulled a weapon. I hadn't. I'd just read the fine print. My wife arrived 10 minutes later. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She understood, finally, that she'd chosen a side and lost. I handed her a folder, divorce papers, a timeline, evidence. I leaned in close, not threatening, just honest. "You thought I was gone," I said. "I was watching." She nodded. That was the last agreement we'd ever reach. That evening, I made dinner with my son. Nothing fancy. He laughed for the first time in days. Later, after he slept, I stood alone in the quiet house, the kind of quiet earned, not imposed. Revenge isn't loud when done right. It doesn't need witnesses. It just needs timing. They took 7 hours from my child. I took everything else, and I'd do it again, calmly, precisely, without raising my voice.